warm welcome to our viewers here in Nigeria and around the world. I'm Joke Rogers. Here's what's coming up within the half hour. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky says he is preparing a simultaneous peace plan which does not contain him ceding land to Russia. 22 people are killed in an office building fire in Jakarta. Plus, the Nigerian Air Force denies it violated the Burkina airspace when its aircraft made an emergency landing. Let's begin the world today. Thanks again for joining us. Ukraine is set to be preparing a revised peace plan slightly different from the one presented by U.S. President Donald Trump. In this alternative plan, President Volodymyr Zelensky intends to leave out ceding any Ukrainian territory to Russia, saying he had no right to do so under Ukrainian or international law. President Zelensky made comments about this after meeting with European and NATO leaders on Monday, as part of a push to deter the U.S. from backing a peace deal, which includes major concessions for Ukraine and which allies fear would leave it vulnerable to a future invasion. The Ukrainian president told a news conference that his team could send a new proposal to the Americans as soon as today. On Sunday, Mr. Trump indicated that he viewed Mr. Zelensky as the main obstacle to securing a peace deal, something he has made a key foreign policy goal and which the president claimed he would be able to achieve rapidly during the 2024 presidential election campaign. He told reporters that Russia was fine with the peace plan outlined to both sides by the U.S., but that he was a little disappointed that Mr. Zelensky hasn't read it. Let's get more on this. Joining us now is a senior lecturer of international relations and law at Teesside University in the United Kingdom, Dr. Tarela Ike. Dr. Ike, thanks for joining us on the program today.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
Right. So do you think the Ukrainian president is really the clog in the wheel of the progress in the peace plan with Russia now that he's working on an alternative plan?
I do not think so. In fact, I think, in my opinion, the Ukrainian president, or as a country, does have a right to decide its own future. And the reason I'm saying that is that when we think about international law and the norms and conventions that has been set right from time, it's somehow kind of weird for states to cede their territories because, again, there's this well-defined territories established by international laws and conventions. So that in itself is something I'm quite worried about in terms of what that means for states' sovereignty and territorial integrity. And it's also something that needs to be think about more carefully to avoid, for example, setting a dangerous precedent where stronger nations can invade other smaller nations and then get away with it through some form of land that is being ceded as part of the peace process. So I do think it's not stalling the peace process. In fact, it's an avenue for them to have that conversation so that way they can have a more lasting peace rather than a quick fix that would lead to something else in the future. So that security guarantee needs to be in place as well, in my opinion.
Right. And how do you think the U.S. president and, the rest of his administration will react to this, knowing Ukraine has always had a problem with accepting the clause about ceding territories to Russia?
It's quite hard to predict the U.S. administration's response. Somehow they might find it disappointing, but for me, I think it's an open avenue to get that conversation going, because in the long run, what we all need is that lasting peace rather than a temporary peace. So having the Ukrainian government decide in its own terms what they think the peace process would look like, I think that would be a very good opportunity for that dialogue to actually take place, with the US as usual playing that pivotal role to make sure that happens. So for me, I see it more as a positive opportunity in the right direction, because again, if you remember what happened with Russia annexation of Crimea in 2014, it didn't deter Russia invasion of Ukraine in 2022 in February. So we don't want to see a repeat of that type of situation. So having that dialogue in place from the very, very onset and giving each party the opportunity to actually be part of that peace process, that peace deal would make us see a more lasting peace rather than one that seems top down and sort of like appearing to be imposed on Ukraine. So I think, in my view, it does open up that opportunity for both countries, with the US as always playing its key role in ensuring peace reigns. Thank you.
It's not just the United States playing a role in this. What role do you think Europe and NATO could play in assisting Ukraine with this venture?
So I think that the European nations and the countries and allies are doing really great in terms of ramping up that support for Ukraine. So I think it's something that is encouraged that they still consistently do, put a bit more pressure on Russia to end this war, provide Ukraine with the much needed support and resources to be able to pull through this difficult time. So I think those are the key roles that the European allies can play, and they're doing it really well. It's just that matter of consistency to see that the desired result is eventually achieved.
And this does elongate the peace process, and the U.S. president believes that, Ukraine is the one hampering the deal at the end of the day. But do you think it'll be worth it in the end?
Absolutely. In my view, I think it does not necessarily elongate the peace process. In fact, it does give an ample opportunity for all parties to think through the peace deal to ensure that we have a more lasting peace that would sustain and, be sustained across time and space. Again, like the point that I raised, international laws and conventions are there about the importance of state sovereignty and territorial boundaries. And that's something that is always encouraged to be in place, because we don't want a situation where a peace deal that is not well thought through falls apart, and that then sets a dangerous precedent. So it's something that is really, really worth taking the time to ensure that all parties are happy with the peace deal. There is fairness. There is every party has the right to air their views, and then they reach an amicable solution that does not seem like it's just a quick fix, because a quick fix is more likely to fall apart in the future. But when it's well thought through with processes like this, then there is some ample opportunity for the peace deal to last and to also set a good precedent in terms of states maintaining its territorial boundaries in line with international law. Because if we think about Ukraine, I don't think, in my opinion, that they can unilaterally just decide to cede territories if you look at their constitution. So it might need some sort of referendum to do that. So again, it does have some complexities to that. So I don't think it's not worth it. To me, I think it's worth the entire process to achieve that long-lasting peace.
Right. Thanks again, Dr. Ike.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you.
And now turning to the dispute between Cambodia and Thailand, Thai Foreign Minister Sihasak Pongteko has accused Cambodia of an unprovoked attack that injured 2 Thai soldiers conducting routine maintenance on Sunday during a press conference in Bangkok. The latest accusations by both sides over renewed cross-border attacks raises fears over the faltering peace accord brokered by the U.S. and Malaysia, with Thailand announcing airstrikes against Cambodia on Monday in response. 1 Thai soldier and 4 Cambodian civilians were reportedly killed in Monday's attacks, while the official stated that Sunday's attacks included the use of multiple rocket launchers against civilian targets in Nam province. At a press briefing for the diplomatic corps, also on Monday, Thai Director General of the Department of Information outlined the Foreign Ministry's response to the attacks. Meanwhile, ASEAN Chair and Malaysian Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim has called for restraint and dialogue to prevail.
Yesterday, Cambodian soldiers opened fire on Thai soldiers who were conducting routine maintenance on Thai territory. The incident occurred at Phu-Pha-Lek, Kan-Lak district, Sisakhet province. This was an unprovoked attack. I'd like to note that the Cambodian attacks involved the use of AN-21 multiple rocket launchers against civilian targets in Buriram province. It is important to note that these multiple rocket launchers were used by Cambodian forces to launch indiscriminate attacks against Thai civilians back in July.
I would like to begin by summing up the 5 key points that the Foreign Minister has reiterated to the diplomatic corps as follows. First, the current situation once again shows Cambodia's repeated tactics by starting the conflict first, then denied its own actions, including continued provocations such as planting of new landmines. Cambodia tried to portray the image of calling for peace and restraint, but did the opposite. Second, Thai government's objective is to protect our sovereignty and territorial integrity. Therefore, our military action will continue until such objective is achieved. Third, Thai people and Thailand has endured time and again threats to their safety and security. Cambodia's actions have always denied Thai people's dignity.
Staying in Asia, at least 22 people have died in an office fire in the Indonesian capital, Jakarta. The blaze in the 7-story site started today, according to the police, at a time when workers were said to be having lunch. They believe the fire began after a battery exploded on the first floor before the flames spread upwards. One company, which makes drones, is based in the building. The victims of the fire were women, one of whom was pregnant. The fire has now been extinguished and rescue teams are focusing on the upper levels of the building after conducting a sweep of the lower floors. Defense and foreign ministers of the U.S. and Australian side say it's full steam ahead for the AUKUS partnership, the trilateral security partnership between Australia, the United Kingdom and the United States to promote a free and open Indo-Pacific that's secure and stable. The officials made the announcement at a press conference following a review of the Pentagon of the Biden-era deal. There had been some concern about the existence of AUKUS under the Trump administration. The announcement seems to have doused those fears.
B-22 Ospreys. In fact, as we were discussing a few moments ago, it is our only ally that has fought with us in every war over the last, certainly over the last 4 or 5 decades, and we're very grateful to them for that. And this is a very strong partnership. It's a strong alliance, and what we want to do is continue to build on it.
We're upgrading infrastructure on air bases in Queensland and the Northern Territory that allows for additional U.S. bomber rotations. We're upgrading logistics and infrastructure in Darwin so more U.S. Marines can do rotational deployments and pre-positioning MV-22 Ospreys. This establishes new and resilient logistics networks across Australia. We're deepening our cooperation on the defense industrial base, cooperation on guided weapons production and lethal capabilities, 2-year roadmaps on Australia's guided weapons and explosive ordnance enterprise, groundbreaking cooperative actions on things like GMLRS, guided missile launch rocket systems and precision strike missiles, And we're working toward co-production and co-sustainment of hypersonic attack cruise missiles, co-sustainment, air-to-air missiles, cooperative programs across the board, including Mark 54 torpedoes.
President Trump has given us the motto for our meeting today, which is full steam ahead. And it is very much full steam ahead in terms of the alliance, in terms of the progress on AUKUS, in preparing ourselves for the establishment of the Submarine Rotational Force West at the end of 2027. That is a significant moment in the journey of AUKUS. But right now, we've had an increased number of visits of US nuclear-powered submarines to Australia, including the USS Vermont, which has been at HMAS Sterling over the last 6 weeks or so, where it's undergone the most extensive maintenance that a US nuclear submarine has undertaken outside of the United States. And we are really pleased with the progress that we are seeing in terms of building Australia's capabilities to ultimately be able to operate our own nuclear-powered submarine capability going forward.
And still ahead on the programme. The dazzling Christmas lights in Russia's Krasnodar. Please stay with us. Welcome back. At least 30 people have been injured after a magnitude 7.5 earthquake hit northeastern Japan on Monday night, forcing thousands of people to evacuate their homes. The quake occurred at 23:15 local time at a depth of 50 kilometers, about 80 kilometers off the coast of the Aomori region. The Japan Meteorological Agency said it prompted tsunami warnings, which have now been lifted, while waves of 70 centimeters were seen. Some train services have been suspended and thousands of homes have been left without power as a result of the quake. Authorities have also warned that a stronger tremor could occur in the coming days, urging the public to remain on high alert for at least a week. Well, the Nigerian Air Force has debunked claims of the arrest of its aircraft and crew members for alleged airspace violation in Burkina Faso. A statement signed by the Director of Public Relations and Information Headquarters, Nigerian Air Force Air Commodore Ehime Ejodame. The crew of NAF C-130 aircraft observed a technical concern during its ferry mission to Portugal on December 8, 2025, following its takeoff from Lagos, which necessitated a precautionary landing in Bobo Dioulasso, Burkina Faso, the nearest airfield, in accordance with standard safety procedures and international aviation protocols. The statement adds that the crew is safe and have received cordial treatment from the host authorities, while plans are ongoing to resume the mission as scheduled. The statement further adds that the Nigerian Air Force appreciates the support received during this period and assures the public that it remains professionally committed to strict compliance with operational procedures and safety standards. Meanwhile, a statement from the Nigerian Air Forces comes after the Confederation of Sahel States released their statement saying the NAF C-130 aircraft was forced to land on Monday following an in-flight emergency while operating in Burkinabe airspace. According to the statement, the aircraft had 2 crew members and 9 passengers on board. It went on to say that an investigation was immediately launched by the Burkinabe authorities and revealed that this military aircraft lacked authorization to overfly Burkinabe territory. It said the Confederation of Sahel States condemned in the strongest possible terms the violation of its airspace and the sovereignty of its member states. It also said that the measures are being taken to guarantee the security of the Confederation's airspace, the sovereignty and territorial integrity of its member states, as well as the security of the populations of the Confederation of Sahel States. In the meantime, the governor of Niger State in north-central Nigeria Umaru Bago has received 100 students of St. Mary's Catholic School in Angwara local government area of the state who were recently rescued from captivity. Receiving the students from the representative of the Office of the National Security Advisor, Wing Commander Abdullahi Dari, Governor Bago expressed profound gratitude to President Bola Tinubu as well as the National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, for their swift response, which led to the rescue of the students.
I want to thank Mr. President for giving us all the necessary input to rescue these children. I want to thank the NSA and every other person that has been responsible in the recovery of these children. I want to thank development partners here, the UNICEF and others also. Well, thank you all. And for those that have been praying, continue to pray. We wish to recover the remaining students that are still in captivity, and by the grace of God, in a very short time from now, we are going to record them, inshallah. I want to reassure parents and guardians of these children that will be safely delivered to them very, very soon. We have called on medical health workers to come and look at them, will be checked properly, and before taking them back to the parents. We are working closely with CAN to make sure that they are safely returned back home.
Well, the representative of the National Security Advisor explained how the students were rescued.
Over the past 2 weeks, an intense and coordinated operation conducted by the Office of National Security Advisor, Department of State Security Services, the Armed Forces, as well as other security agencies, have yielded this welcome result, in which 100 students of those taken by those criminals have been safely rescued. It is pertinent to mention that the effort of the Department of State Services play a critical role in ensuring the success of this operation. I wish on this note to affirm the commitment of the Office of the National Security Advisor of every Nigerian. We will continue to lead and coordinate measures to protect all communities and institutions across the country.
Well, away from security matters, the southern Russian city of Krasnodar is brightening up for the holiday season with thousands of garlands, light installations and festive decorations transforming streets and parks into a winter wonderland. Theme parks, public squares and the city's main boulevards are undergoing extensive festive makeovers for 2026. A 22-meter-high New Year's tree has been set up on the main square, standing as a centerpiece among the festive lights, a symbol of the city's holiday spirit. City officials say the decorations extend from the Stadium District through the Central Boulevard to the Old Town, which is now called the Light Route for locals and visitors to enjoy until the new year. That's the world today. Thank you for watching. I'm Joka Rogers.